Good evening, Facebook, and welcome to Deep Conversations and Transformations. My name is Lynette Gray, and my intention behind these interviews is that everyone involved positively transforms. So that's you, the listener, my guest, and myself. And tonight I have the honour of interviewing Tommy Gentleman. Tommy is a public speaker, he's a coach, he's an entrepreneur, and he's the creator of the Super Self Summit. So I'm waiting for him to come on. I think he should be on in a minute. We came on live before, but his sound was a little bit dodgy. So let's just allow my guest to come on and let's see if he's back in the game. I'm excited. We haven't actually met yet. Oh, here he is. Amazing. Approve. This works. The power of technology. Yes, are you
There we
here?
go.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Is it better sound? Yes.
Loud and clear.
Good.
Good
Thank
to
you
go.
for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here
It's,
on a Sunday,
it's,
which is really weird. Is this what you usually do, a Sunday night?
I do a Sunday night. I'm a wee bit weird.
Yeah. Is there any reason for that? Is that like because it was super chilled or?
I think it's for me just ending my week really powerfully and taking
Oh,
on your Monday in that higher vibration, Tommy.
love it. No, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So tell us all about yourself because I've explained enough or as much as I know. So you tell us about you and how you got to this point in your life.
Yeah, cool. So apart from delivering early morning newspapers and washing dishes, pretty much my whole life I've helped people feel better. It started out with fitness. It started out as very basic teaching classes, working in a gym, then eventually it evolved into personal training. But
Yeah.
the whole time this was happening, there was always this like pull towards finding out more about some of the reasons why people don't follow through with things. There's always this like
Mm.
nagging thing of like the information's there and yet still it's not necessarily happening. Um, and so that led me to investigate into more of the mindset side of training people. This was back in
Yeah.
2011. I think I did my first NLP
Oh,
qualification,
amazing. Yeah.
did like two or three sort of additional courses to that over that time, and then started to introduce some of these practices into the one-to-one like PT model.
Yeah.
Um, then about 3 years ago, I decided that I wanted to go through a transition, take myself what I like to call out of my shorts and into my like trousers. So not necessarily on the gym floor now, but actually working with people in a consultation style environment, a
Yeah.
coaching environment. And that's about 3 years ago, but I only really went like all in on it about 18 months ago. And
Okay.
since that time, around 18 months ago, I've built a personal development event called the Super Self Summit, which I know that you've
Yes.
said about. We've done three of those this year. So it started, in fact, round about this time last year, the
Uh-huh.
idea came. So it didn't even exist before that as an idea. It was around
Wow.
about this time last year. We did the first one in Feb and then June and then most recently in November. So now so I own a gym as well. I forgot to tell you about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
you do a lot.
that's kind of a business that grew with me since because I've got this the entrepreneurial bug, so to speak. So
Yeah.
anything that I do, I like to sort of do my own thing within it. So with the fitness stuff, it was like, right, I want to have a gym. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation itself, but that happened within a few years and then it just kind of grew from there. With the personal development space, it's right, I want an event, I want a 2 day event. That's there. And my time now is spent in between the events, managing my
Hmm.
team, my staff at the gym, um, making sure that my clients, I've got a group of clients for help with personal development. I've also got a group of business clients, entrepreneur coaches, trainers, speakers who are looking to build their business. And then I also do like ad hoc speaker
Hmm.
training with people. So, my time spent either there or at home here. I'm in my home at the moment,
Yeah,
with
because you're
family.
married and you've got a son and you've got
Yeah,
another baby on the way. Is that right?
that's right. That is right. So
Yeah.
my wife's just in the other room. My son, we've just put him to bed, so he's gone to bed, and hopefully he'll have a good night's sleep. And we've
Yes.
got another another edition due in April. So with everyone, right? People always say, "Oh, you're really busy." My best friend, I saw my best friend yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, you're really busy," and I'm like, everyone's busy. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not like any busier than anybody else. Everybody's busy. You know, we like to talk about that, sometimes small talk, but everybody is busy. It's just having the people around you. I know that we've sort of jumped into advice here, but having people around you and making sure that you just do one thing at a time. That's
Yeah.
what I found works for me, definitely. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, you know, I've been talking way too long. What's the crack?
No,
What are
this
you?
is what it's all about. Like, I want to hear as much information and much about you as well. So, when's your next Super Self Summit and what happens in that event?
Cool. So it's in June
June.
2019. Yep, that's the next one. Next year, we're only doing one.
Okay.
That was always the goal, by the way. That was always the plan. But like anything, you have to grow a business, you have to grow a brand to a stage where you can have like one like funneled event, which is just, you know, huge.
Huge.
So the plan is now to introduce, there's one or two things that I've been keeping up my sleeve that I'd like to have had previously, but we simply didn't have enough footfall to warrant it.
Yeah.
Um, and no one's doing it. That's what I'm going to say. No one's doing it, and we're gonna be introducing one or two really cool things. So, like the plan, the whole point of the event is a personal development event. Now, in my opinion, it bridges the gap between I know that I should live healthy. I know that I should like eat these foods. I know that I should exercise. Like I'm kind of aware of that. I've been taught that now for 10 years, you know, in the media and through social media and through my friends and everything else.
Yeah.
And every January.
Yeah.
But I know there's something else and I'm aware of it. Like my friend over there talks about this mindset thing, but I don't know what it is. And like, is it about like burning incense candles or is it about like getting up super early? Like I don't really know. So what I do is I bridge the gap between the people who know about that, but they're aware of this personal development side of things and allow them to have, you know, solid,
Yeah.
proven strategies from both sides of the spectrum so that when they leave, they're inspired to go and do things slightly differently because the whole point, I mean, super self, it's just letters. It's
Yeah.
just, you know, it's just letters. What it really means is the person, the individual who comes, leaves and goes back into their life, their community, their family, their workplace, and is a little bit more inspired, a little bit more energized, a little bit more positive.
Yes.
And so therefore the ripple effect of that is making a real difference, not only in that person's life, but the person they sit next to at work, the person they like
Yes.
smile at on the tube, like amazingly, that does happen.
It
Um,
does happen.
yeah, it's the ripple effect, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. And have you got a link for that? Because I think let's get that in the comments below after you come off this.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
I'll
Yeah,
get a group of us from Scotland to come down and experience that. It's
yeah, that would be
truly
awesome.
believe that this sort of work does transform lives.
Yeah,
So I think what you're doing is incredible.
thank you. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Very inspiring.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's power. It's a powerful event, and I think, you know, the first time was about sort of finding what we are to the market, I guess. And
Yeah.
to be honest, didn't really know even going into the second one. The second one was probably, say, here's the, you know, imagine an inverted U,
Hmm.
and like here's, oh, I didn't learn anything new at all, and
Yeah.
here's like transformation and epiphanies.
Yes.
It was actually, and by the way, the goal from experience is to go like there,
Yeah.
right, for a first contact.
Yeah.
So, you know, anyone that's watching this that's in the industry of coaching people, training people, when someone knows nothing about, and I mean
Mm.
this in the nicest way, when they haven't yet had the chance to connect with things that aren't just straightforward and simple on TV, right?
Yeah.
The best place is there. Now, the second Super Self Summit was too far there.
Wow.
And although a few people went there,
Yeah.
it it was not the right chemistry because the people that did go there didn't have enough time there because it happened on like day two, like halfway through day two. There needed to be more time for them to really understand how they felt and then figure it out. So I felt like I'd kind of just left them after
Mm.
this like introduction to something
Yeah.
and then and taking it a bit too far, right? And then the people who didn't just sort of disconnected to the whole message, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really, I struggled with it for a couple of
Mm.
months after the event, and I'll be speaking about specifically what happened
Yeah.
at the next event because, you know, it was not a good time for me. I had 2 months where I was really struggling to figure out what I'm supposed to do next. And the November event was the sweet spot. We hit it, just there. And one of the things that
Amazing.
helped that happen was introducing a Super Self retreat, which is a 3-day process that I don't really talk about because it shouldn't necessarily be the first point of contact. It should be
Yeah.
something once you're in and you think, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Now I want to know about it. And that's something that really helped me be comfortable with the balance of the Super Self Summit. So it's been a really good year for learning,
A
big
huge
time, big
journey. It
time.
sounds like massive growth.
Yeah, in a way, and that sounds really douchey, but in a way it was like too. There's no such thing as too quick, I think, because you adapt to the volume
Yeah.
that you experience. But the learning was so quick that the growth was so quick that there was hidden lessons that almost like when you have a child and people are like, oh, try this, try that, but every person that's ever had a kid has gone like, there's no manual. There's like no way to explain it. Now I'm not saying it's the same as that, but what I am saying is there were hidden lessons that you can't get warned about. No one's, because you've got to do them yourself. And I guess that's the
Yeah.
same with any project. If you're watching this and you're in your job, in your career, or in your personal life, first time you like meet someone and you feel so strongly about them, whenever there's that new thing, you've never been down that road before, then you're always going to have a bit of self-discovery. And that's what
Yeah.
happened. Yeah.
That's incredible. So the next one that you do, is it going to be 2 days, 3 days?
It'll be 2 days.
2 days.
It'll be two
Perfect. Have
days.
you
And
got any lineup that you can share with us yet? Because I know you have like many people speaking.
oh, yeah, I mean, I can't
You can't.
say too much, right? Because I don't like to tempt fate in that way. I like to
Okay.
make sure that we confirm and sign on the dotted line before we. But like some of the speakers that we've had before, influencers in the fitness world. We've also had people in the personal development space. Again, we're sort of bridging that gap. But I can confirm that we've got Ben Coomber coming back, who was really popular in the June event.
Yep.
Solid nutritionist and exercise professional. And we've also got Adam Lewis Walker coming back, who came over at the last event, and he's great especially for the guys as well, because we
Yep.
do want to encourage the guys to come along.
Yes,
Um,
more men. I say that when I do
yeah,
my work. I need more men in the room.
yeah. It's something that I think it just needs to be sort of packaged differently. The words,
Yeah.
but it's happening. I can definitely like tell you, at least from my experience, that there are more men now thinking, actually, I think I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to give this a go because the alternative didn't work.
Yeah. They
You
are
know,
exploring.
yeah, and evolving. I think it's really interesting. It's a good time, and yeah. So lineup wise, there's going to be yeah, announcements made early next year. But this is the exciting part because there's people. I'm talking to people at the moment, and it's going back and forth, and it'll go
Mm.
quiet for a bit, and then we'll kind of get things going again. And but yeah, it's going to be there'll be at least 10 speakers over the 2 days. So
Amazing.
lots of content, lots of different approaches. And like I said earlier, a couple of things up my sleeve in terms of the format, which will really be innovative. No one's doing it. So yeah,
Amazing. So you must be quite good at asking for things or asking people. It's
I think
something that I've been introduced to recently, and that's
cool.
why you were one of the people that I'm like, right, I'm just going to ask them.
Yeah,
And you said yes. So I was like, oh, it worked.
yeah. I mean, like this is a really good point because I know that a lot of your followers will be aware of like the law of attraction, about the power of manifesting.
Yeah.
When you ask, I think, share that intention with people and probably actually the relevant person that
Yeah.
you'd like to. It's a form of kind of influence in a way. If you
Hmm.
sit there and you just think about it, it won't happen. Like it just won't because it takes action, and
Yeah.
asking is action. I mean, I know that it's old news in a way, but those of you that are watching might not know. I had my second event, actually the first sort of biggest name was Callum Best.
Yes, I've
And
seen he was on.
yeah, and that like there was stuff from who his dad is. He was like my dad's idol. I grew
Yeah.
up like being told about George Best and blah blah blah. And it's like, I had a football shirt, like the very first football shirt I ever had. I was like 7, and I asked like my mum. It was just a red shirt, but I asked my mum for some fabric crayons, and I drew like 11 on it and best in like crayons. And my mum found it because she kept it, and I actually gave it to him. And I was like, look,
Oh
and
my
like
God.
that synchronicity only happened because he was at an event I was at, and he was opposite my stand, and my ego at the beginning was like, I'm not talking to him.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking to him. He's not going to want to talk to me, or I just thought, no, I just don't want to talk to him. But then I was like, no, come on, let's go and have a conversation with him. Let's see if there's some kind of trade of energy that we can like have. Let's see, like, you know, I'm not going to go into too much, but basically, him being at the event was a combination of that, of both thinking and intending, but also
Yeah.
making moves to like I followed up with him a couple of months later. Then it went quiet again, and I'm like, come on, come on, come on, and then it comes back around. And so this is happening all over again with other people, and that's the cool
Yeah.
thing about it, you know. But you're right, you have to ask. You absolutely
You
have
have to
to ask.
ask. And it's,
Always, always.
yeah. And I think there's always share this TED talk about the 100 days of rejection. Have you seen it?
I haven't. I
It's
haven't.
amazing. It's about this wee guy who goes on, he basically goes out to get rejected. And then he learns so much because he realizes that people don't say no because they're being mean. They
Yeah,
just, it's maybe not up their street or it's not right for them at that point in time. So now I'm like, right, just start asking and
absolutely.
receiving.
And when you're asking questions that catch the awareness of the person to think
Yeah,
about an answer rather than just being able to say no, because
yeah,
quite often people do want to help, like they genuinely
yeah,
do, like they're most, you know, everybody's has good in them and wants to help people, but when you invite them to be able to shut you down, they will, simply because they want to keep their space. They don't want to, like, they're a little bit busy or they're a little
yeah,
bit distracted. But actually, if they had a chance to think about it a little bit more, then they might be able to come up with a solution on the spot rather than just palming you off. Um,
yeah,
it's the same with your friends, it's the same with your family. You know, the people that we see all of the time, we get into a pattern with
mm,
conversation. And, you know, I mean, how many people do you know who, when they walk into something, they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, oh, yeah, you're
yeah,
right. It's like, it's the same pattern. And of course, if you get used to hearing and responding to, oh, yeah, you're right, you get used to saying, yeah, I'm good. You? And like, there's actually nothing that's happened yet. Like,
yeah,
even if you're not good, even if you're bad, or even if you're feeling a little bit down, or you've got a bit of a problem going on,
yeah.
no one's going to be able to do anything on that level.
No,
Um, so the challenge is, if you're watching this tomorrow and you go in, you know, Monday, anyone that says, hi, you're right, go, hey, how was your weekend?
yes, change it up.
Yeah, and you'll just start this whole new conversation. Just try it.
Be more alive. I've got
Exactly.
some questions from my followers
Cool.
because you're a public speaker. So I had a few public speaking questions.
Okay.
One was, how do you prepare before presenting to a large audience?
Yeah, good.
Do you prepare or do you just like wing it?
Do you know what? I used to wing it. Have you got the same glasses as me? That looks very similar.
Matchy, matchy.
Synchronicity. If it's so, I used to be like, yeah, I don't need to practice. I can wing it.
Yeah.
Until I got to a point where my performance became an expectation.
Okay.
And I guess it's like anything you do when you first do it. If you've got a natural ability to do it, you can kind of rest on your laurels of being new. So, like, if you use too many of the same word, or you didn't use good, like, ideal body language, like from a
Yeah.
speaker's point of view, there is a science behind speaking. And when you get to a certain level, you can start analyzing your performance. That's when you absolutely have to plan. Anyone that says, I just go on stage without notes, like, I get it, I was there, but you'll be so much better when you do prepare. Now, I'm not saying you have to like have a PowerPoint. If that's not your style, that's
Yeah.
not your style. So what I do is, and what I teach is, the first 30 seconds of any talk that's longer than a minute, obviously, and the last 30 seconds that's longer,
Yeah.
like for a talk, should be rehearsed and drilled. And the reason for that is because in the first 30 seconds
Yeah.
of a talk, you get your flow, you get your confidence, you can focus on a specific task. So all of the anomalies that might happen around you, like people's eyes, or someone folding their arms, or someone going on their
Yeah.
phone, or someone like walking in, like all these distractions that can strip you of your bandwidth get handled because you focus on a specific outcome for the first 30 seconds.
Yes.
Also starts you off in a tidy manner, which
Hmm.
increases your efficacy while you're there, like with the
Yeah.
mic or in the front of the room or wherever it is, or even on camera actually. And
Yeah.
then you do your thing in the middle, and the middle will only ever be good if you know specifically what your outcomes are. If you're
Yeah.
going in because you think, oh, these people are going to love what I've got to say because I'm freaking awesome, then you're gonna at some point crash, right?
Yeah.
I know from experience. And then the last 30 seconds is where you want to be able to take, because like think of your favorite movie. You
Yeah.
can remember the beginning and the end, and you can remember
Yes.
parts of it, but you can remember the beginning and the end better than anything. I was watching Home Alone earlier, and
Oh
like
my God,
it's
my
just,
favorite.
yeah, but it's just iconic. Like you remember the beginning, yeah, I remember the
Yeah.
beginning. You know, he gets all stroppy. You remember the end, where like, oh yeah, he sees his mum, and all the stuff that happens in the middle is all disjointed because you can actually physically mark the beginning and the end. So it has to be the same when you speak. You can control your outcome. You can wrap up your
Yes.
speech. You can like give your single point that you want to give, and then of course you can give your call to action, which makes it very clear, very crisp and clean. And that is like one big thing that I say. Anyone that's speaking now, everyone's so different. Some people like PowerPoint, some people like notes, some people like writing bullet points. That doesn't matter. It's the beginning and the end, in my opinion. That's
Yeah,
the
I love
first
that
thing.
advice. You're getting lots of thumbs up there as well. So it's obviously like hitting home to people. I think
Cool,
it's
good.
true. You know, before I came on to you, I was like repeating it 5 times of what I was going to say at the start. And it does set you up. But
Yes,
I think the ending, I need to practice that part as well. So thanks for sharing that.
you're
There was
welcome.
another question about public speaking, and it's how do you control the nerves before you do public speak? Do you still get nervous, or is it more an excitement now?
I get nervous. No, I think if you turn nerves to serve, and
Uh-huh.
anxiety is different. So when you are clear on your objective and you
Hmm.
focus, then you can silence some of the factors that could cause you to distract yourself. I believe that the nerves are good. They're a sign that you care. They're a sign that you're excited. I'm not going to go down the whole anxiety and nerves thing, but what I am going to say is like if you have a practice, like a ritual that you are like where you feel protected and comfortable within,
Yeah.
then you'll always be able to control that little bit of too much stimulation, too much nerve. So what I do is at some point within like half an hour of going on stage, I listen to 2 or 3 songs that are
Yeah.
my like stage songs. Like I'll listen to them and I'll imagine my first 30 seconds. I'll see it in my head. I'll see that first 30 seconds. I always, whenever I go onto a stage, I always touch the stage with my hand before I go up. So I'll be invited on and then I'll
Yeah.
like touch the stage and I imagine the stage like changing color
Amazing.
to like it's mine, right? So this is like something that I picked up from, I used to train like cage fighters,
Yeah.
and they used to like, some of them were like, yeah, I always do a lap of the cage, I make it mine, I mark my territory. And I was like, yeah, that, because then you feel like this is my cage, this is my
Yeah.
arena. And of course I'm not fighting anyone on the stage, but
Yeah.
I am fighting myself in a way. So going up, I place my hand on stage, make it mine, and then I always as well. One other thing. This is just about the ritual. It doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah. I
It's what
love
you
it.
do. I always, when I scan the room, I have to go in the room early at some point, even if it's like an hour before or ideally before the event, and I pick a spot on the back wall. So I might pick like a light, or it might be like the clock, or it might be a piece of like art on the wall, and I look at it and I'm like that I'll just use a picture for example. That picture will still be there on that wall when I'm on stage and when I'm off stage.
Yeah.
That picture is a constant. So if I ever need to bring things back down, then I think about that picture because it's just a picture on a wall and it's here and it is what it is. So I make sure that it's in my eye line when I'm on stage. So if I feel myself need to get back to the point, I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And I
That's
set it up like that. But
that's
these are the
brilliant.
little things that I didn't do at the start. I just had this sort of, I had the natural energy, the natural charisma, but I don't want to be just a good speaker. I want to be like a world-class speaker, and I set my standards high. And at some point, like anything, sport, arts, music, when you break into the scene, so to speak, you can get away with being new. You can get away with being a bit raw. Now you still come across that way, but you don't get to the best you can be unless you plan and structure and improve. Like I used to love watching videos of myself speaking because I was like, I'm good, I'm new, I'm good. It was that sort of like, here I am attitude, yeah. Now I do it, but I don't want to. I'm like, oh, because I know now I'm looking at these intricate things.
Yeah.
I'm looking at like, did I put my hand there when it should have been there? I'm like looking at these things now. So I'm looking
Wow.
at it without the excitement of like, oh, how great is it to be on stage? Man, yeah, it's cool. I'm actually thinking, yeah, you should have hung on that word a bit longer, or yeah, I need to make sure I give myself more over that side of the stage because I'm very much favoring that side. So yeah, I mean, it's like
So
anything. You can go as deep
yeah,
as
my
you want.
brother says even better if. So when he's watching stuff back, or if he's done something, he does public speaking as well, and he's like, I always say to myself, even better if now, rather than like give myself a hard time, and then just
Yes.
grow from it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I guess like whatever works for you in any other um, area of your life in terms of feedback,
Yeah,
transfer that into speaking because it is just a skill like anything else. If you've
yeah,
got some success in anything, whether it's like, again, sport, music, business, relationships, anything that you've had success in, think about how you used to measure your progress, how
mm,
you used to get feedback and apply that same strategy for your public speaking. It shocks me how many people don't have someone, even if it's a trusted friend, that can give them an outside point of view.
yeah,
It's a skill. You have to be able to take it for what it is. Here's my performance. Have a look at it. Give me some feedback from someone you trust and think, yeah, they've got a good point of view. Like, why wouldn't you? Because it's the same if you were like playing the clarinet. You'd be like, hey, can you listen to this and tell me what you
yeah.
think?
So
It's the
do
same
you have
thing.
a mentor then, or somebody that helps you with that sort of thing?
I've got three. I've got three people who they're not they're more like what's the word? I guess they're also in this life in this world,
Yeah,
and we help each other. We send each other things, or we might just like surprise one another and be like, I just watched your video. You need to make sure you look at the camera more, or you need to make sure you stop using that word, or stuff like that. But it's all in the right flavor of advice. Yeah.
yeah. I think when you're on that level with people, it's great because you can just really listen to what they're saying and take on board. So
Yeah.
somebody else asked, how did you become this motivated, and how do you stay that motivated?
Um,
Uh,
the short answer
yeah,
is the short answer is there's always been a positive energy around me, which I'm very grateful for since I was younger. My mum and dad have a very positive outlook on life. I had a great upbringing in a primary school that were very dedicated to learning, and I excelled in that learning environment. And then when I got to secondary school, I excelled in half of it, and then the other half was excelling in social circles, which was like so needed. I think my grades suffered, but it
yeah.
taught me a lot
But
about people.
yeah, and probably how to connect with all
Yes,
individuals, you know?
exactly. So that's the short answer. I think the alluding to the long answer, it's that when you get the first taste of like how bad it can be, when you get the
Yeah,
first big old kick in the face from life, which happens to everybody,
yeah,
that when you can figure out how that can help you be stronger, then anything that you already are gets amplified.
mm,
So this part of my life is visibly amplified because it's in the public eye.
yeah,
This part of my life, who knows, like if my life had a parallel track and certain things hadn't happened, then maybe I would still be like this, but I wouldn't be as like this.
yeah,
Okay, so I've taken and this is, I don't need to go into any detail, but everyone that's had something that stung a bit,
mm,
when you can get that thing that stung and you can go, do you know what, you're coming with me, you're going to be part of who I am because I've learned something massively powerful about who I am because of that thing,
yeah,
then you amplify anything. If you're a motivational person, you'll be 10 times more motivational. If you're an empathetic person, you'll be 10 times more empathetic. If you're a creative person, you'll be 10 times more creative. I think it's the key for anyone to really excel. And like anyone that's ever been, I think it was Derren Brown actually said on the James Corden show the other night, he was like, anyone that's ever been any good at anything has always had a bit of a bit of a shit bit. Like,
Bit of shit time, yeah.
yeah. And I guess it's like, is it like we wouldn't want to wish it upon anyone, of course, but
No.
because it happens and because it's such a fragile world, life that we do live in terms of the constructs of what we'd like to protect, sometimes we can't. Because of that, we have no choice. Well, we do have a choice. We have a choice that we have to. That's our choice that we have no choice about. We have to. Otherwise, we suffer. You
Yeah,
know?
we choose to step up though, eh,
Yeah,
Tommy? Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So up until this point, well, like, what's been your greatest achievement so far?
Oh, 100% my son being born.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
I
that.
can feel that. Yeah.
The reason is because I thought I thought that my life's purpose was legacy.
Yeah.
And when I would say that, what I was referring to was like what I could create with my work and
Mm.
how I could like help loads of people and like do events and like make a real difference. And then when he was born, I didn't realize that he was my legacy
Oh, wow.
physically, right? Yeah, yeah. Wow. Like
It's
it
so
took
funny
me a
because,
while.
yeah,
Go on.
the next question was, what do you want your legacy to be?
Well, we can
Oh,
lead into that. I mean,
amazing. Yeah.
the uh, the word is a great word, and I think that
Hmm.
the danger with that word, it's like this behind me. This is on the wall because this is my wife's. My wife had this when she left her secure full-time job as a legal secretary to go and pursue her dream of being an aerial silks instructor.
Yeah, I've seen her pictures. Wow.
Yeah, she's incredible, and she has this on the wall. But we also understand that it's something that we're highly conditioned to. We we get used to hearing it, and what does it actually mean? I think legacy is another one of those sort of buzzwords that
Mm.
sometimes we don't really fully understand what it means to us. And I think like him being born is my physical DNA, is my physical legacy, and it was almost like, hang on, I've achieved it. Like by definition, my legacy now is in him, and of course in the baby that's coming in April. Um, and I was really happy with that, you know, for a while, for a good couple of years, well, until about 3 or 4 months ago, when I thought actually that there's still something that here has to connect with legacy and me and
Yeah.
what else I can do, you know, what else I can do to create. But I guess the biggest fight that the entrepreneur, the fast moving mind has, because you don't need to be an entrepreneur. If someone's got a fast moving mind, they have lots of ideas and lots of ambitions, and sometimes like the challenge can be making sure that we stay in that sweet spot of family and like don't just get used to it, don't just take it for granted, don't just like
Yeah.
think, oh, it's fine, and actually the other stuff in life. And I guess that's now the point, is just to stay as true to that as possible, which I need massive help with. Like honestly, like, I will do 13, 14 hours of what like desk ideas.
Yep.
I will do that without even thinking about it. So I need like the people around me to constantly sort of remind me to have a look at it, and no
Yep.
one's perfect, you know.
Of course, we're still human. So how, yeah, I mean, do you have any sort of routine where you find peace for yourself? How do you find peace? Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
we're
that's a good question, and it changes. I think um,
mm,
everyone's different, right?
yep.
And some people will connect with certain ways of doing this, like taking time out, meditation, that kind of thing. By the way, like I meditate, but I don't do it like I understand what it feels like,
Yep.
and it isn't necessarily closing my eyes, sitting down. Like it for me, it can be active. I can switch off and still be walking around and doing things. So I think like not forcing it is quite important. And I use music a lot.
Mm,
If I need to go for a walk, I go for a walk. If I need to go do a workout, do a workout. But it's just taking the mind into a space that it feels pulled towards. I think that's the key. Like rather than doing what you think you have to do because you
yeah.
read it in a book. Because remember, a book is only someone's recommendation.
It's so
There's no
true.
way, there's no rule. It's whatever you
Yeah.
want it to be.
You need to, yeah, I think I used to read all the books. So I've been on this personal development journey for about 8 years, reading all the books, thinking I knew everything. And then I went to a course called Landmark Forum and they
Yeah,
kicked
yeah,
the shit out of me. I
yeah, yeah,
basically was like, shit, I know nothing. But through that experience, I then got the books now. I got the teachings more on a deeper level. So I think you have to experience, like what you're saying, it's what works for you, but actually experience it rather than reading it.
yeah. And like the eureka moment is when you realize that's the same as anything.
You're like, oh,
When you want to, again, going back to the same example, if you want to be a good cook,
yeah.
then you can read a recipe book, but until you go and cook something, how do you know? And someone eats it, how do you know that you're a good cook?
Exactly.
So like, yeah, you can have all the books and read them even, but until you go and make moves, actually walk and stride through the challenges, you don't really know.
Yeah.
But without the books and without the forum and without the summit and without anything, you are blind to it because we can't see our own blind spots. So that's where people like us come in, because we're able to help people to see other alternatives to the way that they currently exist and think in their reality. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because we once had those blind spots. So now we're like, here,
yeah,
this is what we learn.
yeah. And I'm genuinely excited about the shift that we have.
Mm,
And for me, I've seen it start with personal trainers. When I started out, there was only 3 in the town. And like now, I'm sure there's 50 or 60. My town's quite small. It's like 60,000
yeah,
people. Um, but there's also coaches. There's people who are helping people with things that you never would imagine people would get sort of be able to build a business helping people with. But it's amazing. And I think the biggest thing that we need to do is we need to remember our core reasons for
yeah,
doing things, like our strongest reason for wanting to be that person, and be aware of with any journey there's always the individuals who would leverage that intention for not necessarily your best with your best intentions in their mind. So
mm,
um and I am aware of the businessy side of the coach trainer speaker entrepreneur game. Not thinking you're good enough, so you have to do another course. Not thinking you're legit enough, so you have to get another qualification. Not
yeah,
thinking that you're good at funnels, so you need to invest in this technology. And I think like it can be a bit of a problem. Again, we need to stay in that sweet spot and remember all the time the core reason why we're doing it.
yeah, perfect. Like tonight's been amazing. Thank you for sharing so much. Before you go, I want to talk about these videos that you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
let's talk about
incredible.
it.
So I call it like motivational poetry, but what is the label on that?
I don't know. I mean,
Just your
originally it was
creation.
yeah. It's good that you brought that up because it's quite a good way to sort of finish things. I was talking to a good friend of mine about this who said we had a couple of beers and he was like, by the way, he said those sonnets that you do are amazing. And he was like, it's he shared something with me I won't share now, but
Yeah,
he sort of said, and I replied and I said to him, look, they to me represent me showing up as my own person,
yeah,
because anything else that I've put out there on the internet before had been 98%, 97% me. Some of it is like playing to the marketing thing. Some of it's playing to the role that I think I should be. And I had a
yeah,
big problem. Part of my problem after the second summit was my identity crisis of
yes,
like, who am I? Because I feel all these strong feelings. I feel so pulled to doing the events, and but I'm like, okay, well, what does it look like? And like anyone who's doing anything, you go, who's the best at it? And I'm like, oh, Tony Robbins. And then I'm
yes,
like,
Tony
I can
Robbins.
do that. I'm like, I can. But then I was trying so hard to be like someone else
Mm,
that I sort of missed my unique creativity space. And going through the process of figuring out what to do next on a sort of strategic business level, and figuring out who I am. In that time, I grew my hair and started writing poetry. Uh, so yeah, it's a way that I can hopefully connect with people using an art which I've never been asked about this before. It's the first time I've been asked about it.
oh,
So,
really?
and I've been rehearsing in my head about what I would say. I'm extremely proud of the fact that each line has 10 syllables and it's always 14 lines. It's a true sonnet, right?
Wow.
I was inspired by this. Like, it was one of the only things in secondary school that I remembered about Shakespeare. I was like, how has he done that? Every line's 10 syllables. I'm like, that's fucking insane. But then I was like, I wonder if I can do that. This was like when I was like 14. And I started mucking about with words and was like, oh, that's cool. I can do that and do that. And like this creative spark began. But like, who grows up to say they want to be a poet? You know, it's not. But now it is possible. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I found a way to do it within like my profession, if you like. So the fact that you called it motivational poetry, I think is really cool. I don't have a name for it, but I have been joking around saying that I call it the Super Self Sonnets, which could be
Yes.
the little book of Super Self Sonnets. I'm not sure yet, but I really love doing them. And I mean, the metrics on social media as well, and the messages that I get from people, it's really nice. And I guess with anyone, when you find the thing that you, or one of the things that you do that lights you up and that you find that you can just naturally do,
Yeah.
then you should just like completely follow it. I mean, I'd like to like romantically think that if I'd have existed hundreds of years ago, that this would just be what I did. You know, there's
Yeah.
no need to pay a rent or a mortgage or anything. Just be like, I think I'm going to write another sonnet today, and just be able to just write them. Do you know what I mean? Because actually, they don't take me very long. I think the last one took me like 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, that if someone was to come along and say, look, I'm just going to pay you to write them now, I'd be like, I'm
Yeah.
in. I'm in.
My
Um,
God. Like,
yeah,
honestly, the energy that comes off the videos though is just pure, and every time I watch one, I get goosebumps, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, and I keep sharing them with people. I'm like, look,
yeah,
I'm
thank
going to
you.
be interviewing this guy. Like, he's so
Yeah,
talented. So yeah, be proud of those videos
thank
and
you.
keep
I
coming
appreciate
with
it.
them, because I think also you will really reach out to guys. So, you know, I know a lot of men struggling and they won't always like reach out to people, but if they can see videos like that, you might just help them to have,
Yeah.
you know, a different day.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's the plan. And if it connects with one person, then it's done its job. You know.
Exactly. So thank you so much. Honestly, so much gratitude for the bottom of my heart. It's lovely to meet you, and I'll get a team of people and we'll come down to your self summit. No, I got
Yeah,
it
that'd
wrong.
be awesome.
Super self summit.
Yeah, that'd be great. We can make it happen, and yeah, we've got plenty of time. It'd be great if you did. So we have a few sort of teams of people coming from different areas, which is quite cool. So it really is exciting. I'm looking forward to it. We've got like what 7 months, so yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Amazing. So if you, I'm going to repost this. If you could put like your handle for Instagram under
Sure,
there or any other details so people can get in touch with you.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Do you
And I
want me to
want
say it
this,
now?
yeah, you
Can you
can
say?
say it
Yeah,
now
cool.
as well. Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy to find me. Just any social media platform, Tommy Gentleman. Instagram just at Tommy Gentleman. And yeah, anyone wants to reach out about anything, just go in, send me a message. I always check them myself. So yeah.
Thank you. And I just want to say thanks to Kelly Pretty, because it was through her that I
Yes,
connected with you. Yes.
yes, and
Another
yeah,
Scottish
she's
lassie.
awesome. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. And hopefully we'll meet in the future soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me. Thank
Okay.
you for watching. Hope this has added some value into your life.
Definitely. So many nuggets in there.
Love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye bye.